welcomes you to Richmond, Virginia, and Busch Series Racing. We're about to see Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Casey Kane, and a host of others. Drivers ready to hit the road and maybe hit each other on this short track. All year, the Nextel Cup drivers have dominated the Busch Series, winning all 10 races. Will that streak continue tonight? Or will a Busch Series regular drive the wheels off his car on his way to victory lane? As day spills into night, the brakes will glow hot, and the tempers could get even hotter, although a 40% chance of thunderstorms this evening has moved the start of the race up a bit. But the Hollywood Hotel 100% open for business here at Richmond International Raceway with Jeff Hammond. Chris Myers, thanks for being with us. For Busch Racing on FX, special guest Kurt Busch joining us as well. Kurt, thanks for coming along.
Thanks for coming by. No problem at all.
And
it's dry in here right now.
You're batting 500 in your Busch career with the victory at Texas and, of course, finishing 4th in Phoenix. How many more Busch races are you going to run this year?
Probably 6 or 7. Haven't quite decided. They might throw in one here or there, but it's a Penske truck rental, big bright yellow car, and it's fun to drive the Busch Series. I never drove it before because I would only get 1 race offers from my old team. I said, man, I really want to do a 10-race gig and really try to develop crew members, and that's what the main purpose is for our team.
Well, the next race in the Busch Series you're going to run is going to be where?
At Charlotte. I got the short straw, I guess.
And that's hey, you won the last Cup race here at Richmond. What does it take, whether it's Busch or Cup, to be successful on this short track?
You know, it's like most short tracks across America. You got to be able to roll through the center of the corner. You go in nice and light, and then when you're off the brakes, man, you just have to hit that white line and roll. And then later in the race, the outside groove develops, and you have to have a car that'll go high.
And starting,
it's more under control. I'm going to give him middle of the road there. I'm going to give him 5. He can get out there and he can keep himself calm in other areas, but you know, he's still. We both need that little bit more work. You know, I think everybody does really. So it's hard to, you know, when you're going around there and you're racing and trying to get the prestige of winning races and whatnot. You know, you get yourself wrecked. Definitely going to, you know, spike off a temper.
All right. So now, how about this, Kurt? 2-part. It's calm down. Where is he on that scale, and where are you on that scale of 1 to 10 right now?
I was watching that little meter at the bottom. Just kind of bounce 10, bounces 1.
Because he needs some work there too, huh?
We're trying to lay back a little bit. We just have that tenacity to win. Sometimes when our car isn't right, we overdrive it a little bit. You know, we're well respected by our peers. They know that we're hard chargers and we like to race fast, but sometimes we overstep the boundary, and we just got to give a little bit more space. And
it's going to be
you know, he likes to talk a lot. We like to race.
A little bad blood there. The deuce is loose.
Some of the controversy that has come with a win in Bristol for Kurt Busch. And Kurt, let's bring in the guys upstairs, and Darrell Waltrip, a guy who can relate to success and controversy. Darrell, how would you counsel Kurt on this at this point?
Pick your fights. That'd be my advice. I didn't do a very good job of that either. I had my dog here. If there was a fight, I wanted right up in the middle of it, and I wanted to be a part of it. I've always said I never met a controversy I didn't like or couldn't add to.
But Kurt, on the contrary of that, I know by the time we got to Phoenix, you said, I just want a race where everything's clean. I don't want. I'm not hunting this controversy.
It just follows me wherever I go. Geez, I come in here to be friends with everybody, and then the clip that gets shown, you know, I'm having fun racing cars. I may have overstepped my boundary a few times, and, you know, the racing is racing. You have a good time out here, and I'm good friends with probably half the field. You know, but when you're out there racing, it's like you have friends, but you want to beat them. You want to be able to take your own team to victory lane.
And Kurt, where's the line with aggressive driving and going too far? And does that line get moved or changed depending upon who else is out there racing with you or what track you're on?
It changes, yeah, from track to track or maybe driver to driver. You know, I look at it as a clean slate when you show up at Daytona, and then things add up. For the first 3-4 weeks, I got phone calls of guys spinning me out. Hey, man, sorry about that. And so it's cool. You know, hey, man, no problem. I understand. We'll work through it. You know, I called and reached out for Biffle, got a hold of him, talked with Burton. You know, things are all smoothed out, but yet there's that spot in our sport where there has to be that action going back and forth to create sparks. But everything is really cool on the real side of it.
I've never seen a springboard break like that.
There will be a deduction on the landing.
I'd hate to be responsible for that.
Not the official tools of gymnastics. The official tools of NASCAR. Craftsman at Sears.
Been pretty lucky, Casey Kane there, and you can see the bit of rain coming down. We did get Nextel Cup qualifying in just barely before we started to get sprinkles here.
Speaking of that, we were talking about Greg Biffle. Greg Biffle will start from the Bud pole. One of the last cars to go out in that qualifying session, knocked his teammate Mark Martin off the pole.
Yeah, he and Martin will share the front row tomorrow night.
Two guys that had great cars at Phoenix. Greg could have won the race. Mark could have won the race. They both had problems, so ran out of fuel, but they could have won.
While we have a break here, let's show you the lineup for tomorrow night's Crown Royal 400.
Brian Vickers was on the pole for a long time, and then Casey Mears went out there and sat right behind him. Then those two Roush cars went out fairly late in the session.
Yeah, Brian Vickers' car, that 25, has a history of running right good here at Richmond. Of course, Dale Jr. there, you know, I look for him to have a great night tomorrow night.
Don't count that guy out back there in that 29 car. Remember, he won at Phoenix a couple of weeks ago.
Jeff Burton, 31, fastest in practice, but went out late. Didn't get a good run. Kyle Petty did. 12th spot there.
Tony Stewart. Pretty good run for Blaney, too, back there, row 10. And there's some guys right back here, starting with my brother, for one, has had a big sigh of relief making the race on speed. He and Strimmy.
Yeah, they both had to get in on speed. Scott Wimmer had to time into the field. Bobby Labonte had a string of good qualifying efforts broken here.
See Sterling Marlin there in the 14 car this weekend, celebrating his 30th anniversary of racing in Nextel Cup. Started back in 1976.
Yeah, see the 38 car back there of Elliott Sadler with that white M&M on the hood.
Promoting a new movie.
That's about a movie, right?
Pirates of the Caribbean.
I hear you.
Two Wallace boys get in, Mike and Kenny.
All right. And let's
lap, and Carl won the race, and Elliott Sadler didn't. He was most unhappy about all of that, but you've got your own memories of this place as well. Take us back to 2001, a Silver Crown race won by Aaron Fike. You were here with your Silver Crown car. Tell us about that expensive exotic tow rig you had.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I borrowed my buddy Darren Beach's truck and trailer, and we slept out there in the parking lot in the in the tongue of the fifth wheel. Had a good time. We went and got a hotel, but I'm pretty cheap. I still am, and I was worse then. And my buddy Carl Jockey was with me. It was just me and him. And we went in the hotel room, and he said, man, I'm not sleeping here. I'm not staying in this hotel room. So I figured, man, I can't stay here by myself. So went and got my money back, and we stayed out there in the parking lot. Didn't have any radios or nothing. We finished 15th, and Aaron Fike won that race. But it was a day of not a lot like today. It was about 105 degrees and no rain. So I don't know. That was fun stuff.
Have you ever been to a racetrack you didn't like?
Yeah, they have this track in Virginia. It's Martinsville. I don't know if you've ever been there, but that's the one I have the most trouble at. But no, man, even there, man, I have a good time racing. I love racing, and I mean, if I didn't get the job I got now, I'd still be out there doing what I was doing then and having just as much fun.
Mike, Darrell, Larry, I hope this guy never loses his enthusiasm. It's so much fun being around him.
Well, it is, except for the evening we were just talking about. Edwards in the 60, Elliott Sadler in the 90. Little rough and tumble.
That was a nudge. And this is ugly right here.
Yeah.
This is just flat wrong right
here. That's
a man that size should not try to do that.
Right. Brad Parrott doing his own attempted backflip.
That was as ugly as a Kurt Snow Angel at Texas.
All right, let's go to another driver who's been to Victory Lane of Richmond with Matt.
I like the looks of this. Well, they've been sitting around bench racing.
Right.
Now, that's when you sit around and talk about races that you've won or you're going to win.
Or should have won.
Until you get to be mine and maybe Hammond's and maybe Larry's and maybe your age. Then we sit on park benches and talk about it.
Talk about when you used to bench race.
That's right.
Couldas, wouldas, and shouldas.
Got it. The ones that got away.
You see, there's no rain there in the lights. That's what we've been watching, is the rain around the lights. And
so just the jet dryers are out and about half a dozen track trucks, most of which are making their way to the pit lane. So The fans that have been faithful here and a little damp are going to get rewarded. We're going to put cars on track and try to get this race underway. We'll stay away.
As a matter of fact, I think the people over at the airport were calling over the track saying, "Will y'all get those cars running, get that weather out of here?"
But Mike, the amazing thing, we showed it not that long ago, those spots on pit road where the cars originally were sitting, they're still gray. We've not had any hard rain. This is where they were sitting, you know, roughly close to 45 minutes to an hour ago.
Yeah, the track is not wet, and this little bit of moisture that's falling, it really won't bother the race cars once the cars get racing, get some heat in the track.
A little bit of drying going on up at the very top of the racetrack, but the tarps are being pulled from pit road. NASCAR officials signaling that the car they're assigned to is running. And as the track trucks scurry for cover, we'll take a break, and then we're going to roll at Richmond.
We're going to go racing, boys.
Up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Let's get this Friday night party started.
Oh yeah, it's a Friday night fight, baby. Coming to the green, yes we are. Buggity, buggity, buggity. Let's go racing, boys.
We're going to send our vortex theory back to the shop for a little more work.
Well,
we needed more laps.
12 laps, you don't get it hadn't quite gotten up to that elevation yet.
I'll buy that.
It was getting close.
I'll buy that.
That's 12 more laps than we thought we were going to get.
That's true.
And it's that same kind of looking rain where I don't think it'll last very long.
As a driver, you run 12 laps, you're just starting to get into a rhythm, and now this.
Yeah, it's not all bad though, because it gives me a chance to, okay, now I can talk to you about my car. Crew chief's been saying, tell me about your car. Tell me about, I will when I get a chance. Now I got a chance. I don't think we're going to see anybody come on pit road right now by any means. But you can start to analyze the car and give that information to the crew chief, get a little conversation going about what you want to do when we do pit.
We may see some of the cars at the very back of the field, like Danny O'Quinn Jr. in the 50 that's in a backup car after crashing in practice today. You know, nothing lost if you're at the back of the field to come in and make some of those adjustments.
Now, this 38 car that's leading, Anthony Foyt started the season in this car, and I believe it was a Dodge then. And Jason Leffler comes aboard to run a second car for this team. Things change around, and now here's Leffler in the 38, and now it's a Chevrolet. Take us a little bit through this process, because a lot has changed at this team.
Well, yeah, actually, Jason Leffler has been with Braun Motorsports, which was the 32 team. He's been with them all year long. Braun Motorsports and Aikens Motorsports, they did a venture. Here's one of the cars we talked about that may make a pit stop, Elliott Sadler in the 90. But anyhow, they decided to form an alliance with each other. Now, the Braun team was running Monte Carlos. The Aikens team was running Dodges. So a few weeks ago, both teams went to Dodges, and then they decided just to run one car and use that sponsorship on just one car, maybe going back and forth. And then actually, because that sponsor, Great Clips, had a huge association with the 38 number, they decided to put the 38 number. But this is Braun Motorsports. This is the same team that actually Jason Leffler has been driving for all year long. Now they're actually back to a Chevrolet, probably because we're on a short track.
And let me tell you something, Larry, and I've seen this time and time again. You can have one great team, and you can say, okay, we're going to run two cars. And you can take that great team and to end up with two mediocre teams. That's what you have to be careful of. And I think they're putting their resources all their eggs in one basket is really paying off for them.
They got enough.
With 40 laps to go, Bobby Labonte enters the pits in 5th place. But thanks to quick work from his crew, Labonte wins the battle off pit road. He exits in 1st. Suddenly, a thunderstorm hits. The race is declared over, and out of nowhere, Labonte has his first Darlington win. To beat smoking, you might need a little help. Win the battle, one craving at a time with Nicorette.
Animated clouds, you can see the real raindrops in the background of a race that was delayed about an hour and 5 minutes or so, and then once they got to racing, the caution came out, more rain here in the Busch race. Hey, we're talking about, Darrell, you know, with cars and naming cars, all drivers name their cars?
No, not all drivers name their cars.
Talk to
they
their
number
cars?
them. Drivers have, like Darryl was trying to allude to, what you do is whatever it takes to make you comfortable and make you happy. I know when he was at Junior Johnson's, for example, when he came over, we never did anything like that when Cale Yarborough was there. We numbered the cars, but we only had like 3 race cars, so it was really easy to keep up with them. But when Darryl came along, we did start naming our cars because he had a car when he drove at Dyegard named Bertha. And he had several other names.
Now, where do you pick? How do you pick the name?
The driver does it. I mean,
yeah?
Darryl has this way of figuring things out. I mean, like he had one car we ran at Daytona called Betty, and it was because Betty's being bad. It was a song. He likes songs. He likes a lot of times he relates to it. Or we have a car like it was a chopped up car. It had like a banjo center section.
Wait a minute, all your cars was chopped up cars.
Hey, Larry Mack, calm down here now. But he had one he called Fido. Miss Piggy. I mean, it all depended on what was going on.
I had one named Preparation H.
we understand that one. By the way, the red flag is out, not for that last name, on the track.
What did Kurt Busch do? He goes to Bristol, he wins a race, and what does he rename the car? Rusty.
Rusty.
Different situations happen, and I know we had one at Charlotte one time. Darryl sat on the pole, I think, for the All-Star race, and he ran at that time like I think it was a 31.007. So we called it 007, you know, James Bond.
Well, most people, right.
Hey, believe it or not, there was a method to our madness.
Yes, it makes sense.
Emphasis on madness.
Yes.
I hope this is a better theory than the vortex theory.
Hey, look, I was going to bring that up, Larry, but since you did, would you guys like to try to go back, regroup, and give me another theory on top of this theory?
Well, you got to give it's got to work. You got to give it time to work. I mean, it's not like you can just spin the thing right out of here.
Okay, that's the way you made it sound.
We've
Let's
given
get the
you an
car
hour and
started.
45 minutes.
We need a Gore-Tex theory is what we need. All right, so that's been rained out, that theory.
Oh, me.
So now this has to be frustrating. So with lights here, what kind of determination on how much longer you would go tonight in continue?
I would almost have to defer probably to Larry McReynolds since he's such
I think it's a curfew.
A curfew?
Yeah.
That's what Mom and Dad used to put on me when I was a young kid.
Well, there's a couple of factors, Jeff. One is that they've got a lot of police, city and county here to help, and state, to help direct the traffic in and out of this racetrack. A lot of people here tonight, a crowd in excess of 50,000. And those folks, they've got to get turned around, and the whole racetrack has to get turned around to let over 100,000 people in here tomorrow night. So I'm not sure how late they'll go, but it might not be as late as they might try to go tomorrow night. So you've got that to consider. But I give NASCAR a lot of credit for doing everything they can to try to get this race in. They know how many people were disappointed at Talladega that had to go home and work on Monday or get their kids to school and couldn't stay. So they'll do whatever they can to run the race on the advertised date, and they're making a valiant effort.
Yeah, and if you look at the radar, I mean, if I'm over there looking at the radar like we are, I'm saying, man, we're so close to this being out of here.
And the good news, we can get this thing going. It's actually a pretty quick race. It goes by in a hurry, 250 laps here.
Kid, how'd you get the nickname Herman?
Well, there was a big German man in St. Louis, Missouri. His name was Bob Miller, and Bob had a crew cut. And my dad used to love to go drink coffee with him down at his car lot. It was a used car lot. Well, I would go down there, and of course, diagnosed hyperactive. I would get in every car that man had on that car lot, and it'd be, Kenny Wallace, gonna lead, gonna win the Daytona 5, and on the inside of Cale Yarborough. And I'd get out of that car, and I'd go to the next car. And that man said I wore every steering box out and every used car he had. Anyway, he nicknamed me Old Herman the German after a cartoon character in the now defunct Globe Democrat newspaper in St. Louis. And, you know, just the way I am, I just Old Herm the Worm, you know. I just, I don't know. I guess I was born crazy, so I can't help myself.
Now, your other two brothers seem pretty normal. How did this happen that you wound up as you are and they wound up normal?
I've often thought about that, Dick. I really have. Rusty's always so... Yeah, I can tell you this about Rusty. You know, all those years we grew up racing short tracks, and it's so odd that Rusty's retired now because it was like yesterday that we just couldn't wait to go NASCAR. And now he's retired and one of the 50 greatest drivers. Well, let me tell you what, Rusty's not as... He's serious when it's time to be serious, but he's as crazy as me. It's just that I guess I laugh a little bit harder than him. So Mike is more from Dad's side, me and Rusty more from Mom's side. And, I'm serious about my stuff, you know. But I'm just not like right now. It's not time to be serious. I'm here to entertain you. Hey, by the way, we are on FX, right?
Yeah.
if somebody could find Fox Sports Midwest for me and find out how my Cardinals are doing. We are on a 4-game losing streak, and it is very upsetting to me. So if anybody can give me a score for the Cardinals. And then another thing I'd like to talk about, Dick, is short track racing throughout the United States. You know, I got that.
Cardinals are winning over Florida. How's that for service?
I'm going to tell you what, I've had a tough day.
Top of the 5th.
The AutoZone Ford, by the way, you know, I'll throw a little Michael Waltrip in here. Make sure you get to your local AutoZone because it's starting to get hot outside. And you want to make sure that your air conditioning system's working properly. It's rainy. Make sure you got, you know, your windshield wipers.
Speaking of which, can you see, I mean, it's been sprinkling a little bit, spitting during these laps. When you guys have been running hard out there, can you see okay?
Yeah, I can see okay. One thing that's funny, though, is when the caution comes out, like it's pouring down rain, and the flagman, he looks at everybody and he goes, is it no good or is it good? I'm like, oh, is it raining on you? I mean, it's like raining, you know. You know, the biggest lesson we learned, what was it, 2-3 years ago there at Charlotte? Remember when they said the track was dry in the Winston and they dropped the whole field down in turn 1 and they wiped out the whole field, let everybody get their backups out. So I don't think NASCAR let us go anymore unless they're positively sure that the track is dry. But anyway, getting back to my St. Louis Cardinal dirt car, I'm here to entertain you. So short track racing, you know, is struggling. I'm hearing of a lot of short tracks looking like, you know, saying they're wanting to close down. A little track in Illinois is Macon. It's been struggling. Littlest racetrack in the United States, but boy, really exciting. That guy needs a break. And so I got that Cardinal dirt car, you know, Dick, and you got your magazine.
Yeah.
But we got to.
I got a feeling a deal is coming.
No, we got to save short track racing. You write a lot of articles about it. Yeah, but me and Schrader and Tony Stewart, you know, of course, Dale Jr. and Kenny Schrader, they bought Paducah, Kentucky. Yeah. Not the one off the side of the highway, the one on exit 11. Everybody calls that one, I think, Kentucky Lake. It's not that one. It's Paducah, Kentucky, exit 11. Everybody starts supporting your local short tracks. For example, it's Friday night. You should be at your short track, not watching me on TV.
Yeah. Tape the Nextel Cup, tape the Busch race, go to your local short track. Mike Joy would go along with that too. And a guy that kind of grew up on the short tracks that's racing here tonight, your nephew, Steven. How good is he going to be?
Steven is just like Rusty. You know, he's a diamond in the rough. You know, that old guy from U.S. Tobacco, Hayes, whatever his name, Johnny Hayes. Johnny, you know, Rusty can cuss like a sailor. Well, all of us guys can, you know, and, you know, we love everybody. We try to be good, but every once in a while you slip a bomb, you know, and Johnny Hayes from U.S. Tobacco looked at Rusty's best friend.
Don't say the word.
Oh, I won't. And he looked at Rusty's best friend, Charlie Chase, and he says, my gosh, can't you do nothing with this guy? He's got a potty mouth. Chase smokes a big cigar, and he goes, let me tell you something, bub. I bring you a diamond in the rough. It's up to you just to polish him up a little bit. So Rusty goes on to win a championship in 50-something races. That's exactly how my nephew Steven is. Awesome race car driver, and we just got to polish him up a little bit because he hangs around my brother Rusty too much.
Thank you very much. The ball game is probably over just about now. It's been a world's record interview. No, it's not over. Yeah, but it might have been because this interview has taken us that long, and we thank you very much for the entertainment factor this evening. 5 minutes and 20 seconds. Attaboy, Kenny Wallace. You do work hard for us. Good luck in the race. One more lap.
And that's his wife and his family right over there.
Somebody's got to make me laugh. It's not. That's funny. Dick Burton.
Either the ball game's over or the track's dry one of the two.
Well, it has quit raining, and
I'm betting on the track.
I think it's just about quit raining.
It's Kim Wallace right there, his wife.
Now he's going back into, and now he's bipolar.
He's thinking up more material.
No, he's going into his race car mode now. He comes in and out of it.
On a more serious note, not a lot more. Here's Matt
from the other two Wallace brothers.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think he's adopted. I think he's adopted. I joked to him about that one time. You know, when I first came into this deal, I went up to him just to kind of make conversation with him, and I'm like, Kenny, how come you are so much different than your brothers, Rusty and Mike? I mean, you are just out there in left field compared to those guys. And he goes, I don't know. I said, are you adopted? He just laughed. He gave me the old Kenny Wallace laugh or whatever it is. So, I can't do it. I cannot do it. So Kenny Wallace can imitate Kenny Wallace.
Now, you were talking about one time in your racing career, you were involved in another rain situation.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. May 2nd was my birthday, and running in the Super Late Model Series out in Las Vegas, I wasn't allowed to run, obviously, until I turned 16. So I've always had an age problem. You get the trend here?
Oh, yeah, we've been following that for a number of years now.
Okay. There was 4 races scheduled before my birthday or something like that, and we were going to try to run for the championship, missing 4. And we were there at the racetrack one night, and it was windy, it was rainy, it was unbelievable. It was huge. You know, you rarely have any rain in Vegas, so when it does come, it comes down. And
where's the funny part going to come in? Are you building up to that?
I'm trying to build up to that. I got to follow Kenny here. I'm probably not doing a very good job, so sorry, folks at home.
I know you're doing a great job. Just continue on. You're doing well.
All right. So the third, it was supposed to be the 4th race just before, a couple weeks before. And
did I mention the Cardinals are winning?
Whatever, dude. How the Braves doing?
They're not doing too well either, like my Tigers, but go on.
All right. Anyway, the rain was coming down huge, so they ended up canceling the whole weekend. And, you know, so we came back the next week. I was old enough to drive then, and I only missed 3 races and was close to winning my championship. But, you know, I had to miss that 4th and final race because I was in Chicago during the Chicago Cicero track where I ran out of gas and probably should have won that race in the Truck Series years ago. But all in all, it was a fun year for me. I had a great time with it.
Now, you've been discussing while we were watching Kenny Wallace's 9.5 minutes of television about your eating habits today, and you started out with a big bowl of spaghetti, and you've carried on because you saw Harvick passing hot dogs up to Jeff Burton.
Yeah, I saw there was some food going on over there. I don't know if somebody ordered some McDonald's or something going on up there. I'm not quite sure, but I want to get in on some of that here in a minute. But I had a big plate of spaghetti just before Cup qualifying, and then I qualified a Cup car, was walking back to the Busch truck, and then I was hungry again. And so then I grabbed the hot dog and some fries, and now I'm hungry again now. So I need to get on that food train wherever it went to. I got to figure that out. They won't let us out, and the rain just stopped, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get out.
I think that's a really good sign. But you know what? We'll try to see if we can help you out on the food deal. I'll see if Harvick has anything left we can pass back to you, and we'll throw it right now to Steve Burns.
Laps in, red flag out after a rain delay, and then rain interrupting more of the Busch Series race. Larry asked us about the full moon. We put our best people on it, and
I've already checked on that.
It's a wet moon.
Yeah, it's a first quarter moon is what it is.
Really, officially?
Yes.
Okay. And I don't know if it's in the stars or not if we're going to get this race in.
You got to be positive.
We did, and we'll think positive. 1989, they actually had a Busch race here that was snowed out. That's one of the last times that we haven't really seen a rain out. Now, you still have the option because of Saturday night's Cup race, right? You could run on Sunday if they don't complete this, or I guess you could bring it back tomorrow. What would you do?
I'd run it tonight.
Okay.
I'd run it tonight.
Well, and on the radar, the weather, not that we're experts, as you can tell with the whole vortex theory and what we've been telling you all night, but this is, you know, the green. Look where, see the RIC in there?
Yep.
Can somebody circle that or put a dot or something there? If it moves through, thank you very much, and it is moving through, then we should be okay. And we don't know how long that's going to take. So in the meantime, just to make sure you get your fill of racing here on FX, or at least a taste of it, let's go back to last year's Busch Series race scene right here. NASCAR Busch Series Racing on FX, presented by Netscape, is sponsored by Smooth Busch Beer and Easy Drinking Busch Light. Busch, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Busch Series, 25 years running. Cars aren't running tonight. We've had an hour rain delay and then more rain once they got started. 26 laps in. The red flag is out. They're trying to dry the track. With Jeff Handa, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel, staying dry. You know, it's a slow night when we're worried about what the moon looks like. but it's up there, it's out there, and it's in the sky there where it belongs. By the way, I was just outside. It's dark out too. This just in. Oh, look, there's the official.
That's it. That's that first quarter moon.
Jeff has a, you know, those peephole things on your door. He put in a telescope so he can see who's coming from 200 miles away. And
so I can know when you're coming, so I can know when to run.
Who are you going to be when you get here? All right, how about that finish, by the way, with Carl Edwards and Elliott Sadler as we look back here? All right, who was in the wrong, who was in the right, or is that, as you guys like to say, that's just racing?
Well, no, I'm not going to say it's just racing, but when Elliott got up off the bottom, gave Carl that opportunity to get his nose up underneath him, he should expect that. This is short track racing, pushing, shoving, beating, banging, and that's what you kind of come to expect when you come to Richmond.
We saw the crew chief,
Brad Parrott.
Yes, who's no longer now, right? In fact, Carl Edwards has changed this year now, both his Cup and his Busch crew chief.
Yes, he's got Pierre Cotel doing the Busch Series, and he's got Wally Brown also moved up now to his Nextel Cup, so he's got
Bob Osborne.
Bob Osborne's moved on to Jamie McMurray, but you know, he's got two different crew chiefs, but his team seemed like they're coming together on both sides of the equation. I think everything is looking really good here in the Busch Series. He should have a really strong run tonight as well as tomorrow night. I mean, he's such a talent, Chris. I mean, when you take a look at what Carl Edwards is all about, he's got great personality, and he's got a lot of great, you know, I think driver skills when it comes time to get up on the wheel. He is good at doing that.
Talking about moonlighting in the Busch Series, and he certainly likes racing in Richmond. Why not? His last Busch Series win was right here a long time ago. It was the fall of 1997, but that was only 23 starts ago. Well, you about ready to go race again?
I am. I mean, every time we get a chance to talk, this weather clears up, and I know the guys in the booth have been making predictions, and Chris said it's dark out, but I think that we're going to get this race in. I mean, it's starting to lighten up right now, and not only is it dark out, Chris, but the rain's starting to lighten up, so all the good race fans here in Richmond are going to see good race. So hopefully we'll get it all in. Just want to thank Wheel & Engineering for their opportunity. We're going to run about 8 of these Busch races for the rest of the year, and a couple more truck races, and we'll see what's in the future. A lot of things going on.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about that stuff, because my producer, Pam Miller, won't let me talk about the, well, at any rate, you do really, really well here. This is one of your best racetracks. Why, Steve?
I just like it. I mean, I came here in '97 in Earnhardt's Busch car and won, and it's a proud moment for me because I got a picture in victory lane, only one of my mom and dad standing in victory lane when I won a race. So after numerous wins that I've had, to have them in victory lane and a picture that I can hang on the wall of the house is memorable. But I can tell you one thing. I know Kenny Wallace took up like 5 minutes, and you only asked him 3 questions. How many questions have you asked me?
Off camera or off camera?
Well, it doesn't matter, off, on, but should I throw it back to the booth, or?
No, throw it to Steve.
All right, Steve, to you, man.
All right, thank you, Steve Park, with the hometown hero, Denny Hamlin. And Denny, I'm curious, you said you grew up 15 minutes from here. What was your first memory of this racetrack?
I think my very first race here was when Alan Quickie and Bill Elliott had a great battle, and I think it was Bill Elliott won the race, and it was like his third in a row or something like that. I think it was 1991. I grew up such a big Bill Elliott fan. I know all of his stats and everything, so it's pretty cool that you know, we get to race against each other for a little bit.
Now, Denny, we're not far from the start-finish line. Where would you sit when you would come here with your friends?
Well, earlier in the 90s, we always had season tickets over in Turn 4, but you know, my mom always bought the season tickets, so every year they kind of upgraded to the more start-finish line, and we kept getting higher and higher every year. So I think she still has her season tickets. She just gives them away now.
Denny, did you come here when it was the old Richmond Fairgrounds, when it was a flat half-mile?
I wasn't born at that time, I don't believe. I'm not sure when they did that, but yeah, I was here when it was this configuration.
What does it mean to you now? I mean, as a kid who grew up watching races here in the early 90s, to now be standing here driving for Joe Gibbs, has that all kind of sunk into you yet?
It has. I've gotten used to a lot of it. You know, there's still some things that are new to me, and you know, the responsibilities as a driver is more than just driving a race car and doing well in the racetrack. It's keeping the sponsors happy. It's keeping everybody, the crew, and everybody happy. So there's a lot to it other than turning wrenches and going fast in racing nowadays. And it's amazing how the sport has progressed over the years.
What's that about?
It's not a rumor. Race is potentially going to run tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
That's if it doesn't get in tonight, if we're staying here till 1 a.m. or so.
Yeah, and I don't know if they got enough hot dogs and everything else to go along with that.
How do you figure that out? You know, because that's some pretty good information.
Yeah, Kenseth came up with it.
How'd you get that, Matty?
I was told by a real reliable source.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're pushing for tomorrow morning versus maybe a Sunday afternoon event.
Oh, yuck. No, I'm pushing for tonight. but if we can't...
We're all pushing for tonight.
Yeah, if we can't get in tonight, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, that's John Darby just called my cell phone and told me that, so it's pretty reliable.
Now, he's a big history buff as far as racing goes. What's your oldest kind of racing memorabilia? You know, Matt, do you have like a Mark Martin type thing, or how far back does any of your stuff go?
No, Ryan says I only have 3 trophies at home, so and they go back a while too.
One of them's his wife.
So my oldest stuff is probably just when I raced short track cars. Got some stuff from probably the early 90s.
See, I really think you guys should take your act to Vegas because you have some good chemistry here. What do you think?
He'd have to be Siegfried.
I don't know. I think we'll move on from that whole topic of conversation then. So you're a big charity ride, Kyle Petty ride every year. You go on that. You going to go again this year?
I hope so. I'm not real good at these filler interviews, Matt, but I just saw...
You're doing a wonderful job, by the way.
I just saw Denny Hamlin on here a while ago, and I guess they're out there racing around in the pit box back there, so maybe you can get in on that race. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I'll probably ride a few days at least. I always enjoy going on a motorcycle ride.
Dick, we've got a little bit of a brouhaha going on. Let's go back to you.
Yeah, hey, JJ, I'm looking at your hand here. Are you just looking for some sympathy? You got this thing all wrapped up. You've seen all the attention that Hamlin's got, or what?
I was going to the restroom earlier, and I was trying to zip my pants, and I slipped. And it's not as good a story as Denny's, but it's the only one I could come up with. And it's painful. Man, I don't think I can hardly drive.
This is a real injury.
No, well, it kind of is. Actually, the real injury is just me today. We've really been struggling. It's that smell that's around Richmond isn't the Vigoro fertilizer. It just, I'm struggling real bad. So
I don't believe you just did that.
You know, if we had like a sprint car or Silver Crown, I was good here at the Silver Crown car, but on the...
What's a Silver Crown car? A lot of people sitting home don't know what that is. Tell us.
That's a car that goes a lot faster than a stock car does here. They're an open-wheel car, a lot of horsepower, a lot of fun to drive. Wish I had one here today against these Busch cars, but unfortunately I don't. So I'm just struggling. I was going to ask Denny some advice, but I mean, he can't even run around a truck. So, but he's ahead of me right now. So, in fact, both my teammates are ahead of me. So I guess I can't really say much.
And that's J.J. Yaley, who injured himself going into the lavatory. Steve. Busch Series, what's going on with your crew chiefs?
Well, I don't really know. We Cully left, so we got Bobby Kennedy and Larry Carter, just 2 of our key guys as we go forward and build our teams for 07 and beyond. They've just stepped up and put Jerry Baxter and Colin Engel in position with this Busch car, and then Larry and Bobby and Jason Overstreet and those guys are helping out over at Bill Davis's. We've struggled mightily, Dick, and you know, falling out of this top 35 in points, and just can't get the feel. And I must not be a Dodge guy. I got in Bill Elliott's Burger King Chevy the other night over at Charlotte for a couple of laps, and it felt like old times again. The thing just drove great, but I can't seem to get that Cup car to drive like I need it to. This Cotman car is running good. I got up on the outside already, made a bunch of passes, and then they had a Steve Park and the guy got together and had to let off, and they all passed me back, but I was having fun.
You've got so much going on, though, Michael. Running in the Busch Series, running in the Cup Series, building the new teams for Toyota. Is it too much?
No, it's great. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, I feel like a kid in a candy store. Ty Norris and I just work hard at figuring out, you know, who the right people are to put in the right places in order to build a successful operation. Constantly in contact with my friends from Toyota, talking to them about what we're doing and the direction they're heading. Just, I can't explain to you. I'm a race car driver. That's all I've ever known since I was been on this world, thanks to my brother, you know. And I love this sport, and I'm passionate about it, and I think I understand it as well as anyone in the whole garage area does. So it just gives me an opportunity to build on that. And great sponsors like Napa and Domino's and Burger King coming along with us and helping us to Best Western as well to self-express more. I don't get on TV much anymore because I've been running so bad, so I think I got to get them all in. Coca-Cola, Remington, I think that's about it.
You get them all in anyway.
Aaron's, don't forget Aaron's. They're all working with us as a group, and to build this thing. And I don't look at sponsors as a necessary evil. I look at them as partners, you know, and we've got some wonderful partners, and we touch base constantly, and we like what we're doing. We think we're doing something special, and we're going to make some announcements over the next couple of weeks to months that'll confirm that, I believe.
A lot of people are talking about who you are looking at as drivers. Who looks good to you to get behind the wheel?
You know, there's a lot of guys that obviously would be nice to have drive your car. They're not all available, however, and we're going to always be very respectful of people's contracts and what they have in place. But there's a guy. He's in his late 48s, early 49s. I like him pretty good. I think he would be a good driver for us. And he does today, but I'm really I've always respected Dale, and you know, I've talked to him much about joining our organization, as has Ty, as has other teams in this garage area. So we've pretty much made our play, and you know, told him what we could do as a team to make him happy and give him a place to drive race cars that he thinks he can win in. So I think he's impressed with what we put together, and you know, again, I constantly have been trying to nab these rumors in the bud before they get spread. It was written that Toyota offered Dale Jarrett $20 million to drive one of their cars. Toyota hasn't spoken to Dale Jarrett, and they definitely didn't offer him any money. It's just my team, and I'm going to get him if I can, and he won't cost $20 million, I don't think. If he does, I won't get him. You can count on that.
All right, listen, we got to break this up because you need to put your helmet on because you're about ready to go racing again. It's time. Yeah. Thank you.
Dale Jarrett today went on Speed Channel to say that he's made no decision about his future, but expects to be able, hopes to be able to announce something by the time we go to Charlotte in a couple of weeks. But it will be worth it.
Yes, it will, because we're going to see some great racing. I mean, we've seen some great finishes in this Busch Series race. You saw one on our highlights.
Yeah, you're not standing around saying, I want to go home. You're standing around, I want to see a race.
Yes, sir.
I want to go home after I've seen a race.
So we're at 26 laps. We had about 12 laps of green flag racing. We had a few guys at the back of the field, like Elliott Sadler, John Wood, that they made pit stops when that caution came out earlier.
And now, Larry, I think guys are pretty confident that we will run the whole race. That may change their strategy a little bit, too, now that it's not trying to get to halfway, or we think it's going to be a shortened race. That might change your strategy at this point.
Still stretch.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing right now is these single file restarts. Here we come to the line, and they are half a lap down.
Patience is rewarded. We're back under green.
Green flag.
Fans scurry back to their seats, and Ryan Newman starts to hunt the lead.
Which he was doing right before we got that rain earlier. John Andretti spinning in the 10 as well.
Yeah, he got hit from behind.
And Steve Park piles into him just as he stops.
I don't know if Park hit him. Yeah, I guess he did.
Oh, yeah.
He was trying to lock it down.
Stacey Compton involved in the Kingsford Ford.
Yeah, as we were watching that whole deal, I saw a car go around in front of these guys right here.
There's the damage to Park.
It must have been, was it Compton that went around in front of them?
A lot of smoke coming from the right front of Stacey Compton here, the 59 car. A lot of damage in the rear, too.
Turn 2 is such a tough corner, man. You get up high and you get a good run off. A guy down low pushes out. You get loose, you push. Pretty much anything that can happen to you happens to you off of turn 2 over there.
Well, we're at lap 40 here.
Let's see if we can see what happened in front of these guys. Here's McFarland. He got into the back of Compton. Turned him around, and here comes John Andretti. He gets hit from behind.
There's where Compton got all the damage, was couldn't keep it off the inside wall.
That's so narrow back there in that wall, and when you spin, you're going to hit that inside wall.
Watch for John Andretti up there.
He sees trouble. He slows down.
Watch the 10 right there. Nobody coming hard.
That's Biffle sneaking through.
Inside on the very bottom.
You're riding with Greg Biffle.
Nice job, bud. You slide your tires.
And Andretti came to a stop and got hit by this car, Steve Park.
So we've had about 7 or 8 cars make pit stops, a lot of those that were involved in that caution.
We're back under caution, but we're not under rain.
And
Justin Dirks.
Second time. He got trouble early.
From Davenport, Iowa. The AutoZone Midwest champion the last 2 years in a row. He's a Robert Yates development driver.
That'll be good news, though, for Kenny Wallace this caution, because he will get the free pass after the miscue on the pit stop a while ago, the 22 car.
Plus, he won't have to be. Yeah, he made that pit stop, got 4 tires, so he's in pretty good shape. Got into the 84 car of
David Gilliland. But yeah, the 70 just walked up the racetrack. Just came around on him, walked up the racetrack, getting into turn 1 and 2, and even with a safer barrier, pretty hard lift.
You go into turn 1 with a lot of speed, and you're on the brakes. And if you have to make an evasive move to stay off a car that's on the outside of you, you lose the car just a little bit. It'll spin out with you.
So we're under caution for the 3rd time tonight in Richmond. Watch this Craftsman pit stop. We are under caution for the 4th time tonight.
Now, we talked about Paul Menard in the 11 car. He will now be the leader of this race, but he pitted about 40 laps ago, and then right behind him, Michael Waltrip in the 99 pitted about 25 laps ago. He stayed out. He's in 2nd right now.
Watch the 47 of John Wood and the 50 of Danny O'Quinn right behind.
To the outside.
Oh, you heard John get off the gas. I'm not sure why. And O'Quinn just went over. I'm not sure what was wrong with John. He came up off the corner and had to get up out of the gas. And when he did, he got nailed from behind.
Mike Wallace just misses it, drives through the hole, and so does the 25 of Ashton Lewis.
Right in front of a big pack of cars.
I'm not sure if John's car got real loose coming off the corner. He had to get out of the throttle. What happened? But you could definitely hear in that one replay where he jumped out of the gas and got run over.
All right, well, let's recap the pit stops under that caution, starting with Dick.
Well, Ryan Newman came in as the leader. Mike, he had a pretty decent pit stop, complained that the car was a little bit tight. The adjustments that they made to resolve that problem were all done with air pressure. Casey Kane beat him out of pit road and is now ahead of him on the racetrack. Matt.
A great stop for the 38 team, Jason Leffler. Now, he said that the car was just tight and getting tighter, but he didn't want to over adjust, so he called off a significant track bar adjustment. They just went one round up on the track bar, wedge, and air pressure. Steve?
Well, rumors can be hurtful. You never say a thing about a man unless you know it's true. Yeah, baby, yeah!
Does that answer your question?
Came in, delayed the Busch race once, they got underway, and then the rain delayed it once again. So Jeff Burton, let's take a look at what went on at the Richmond International Raceway. It took a while to get it done last night.
And Jason Leffler was on the pole getting ready to go. The rain came, the race started, and then the rain came again.
Once again, Jason Leffler, you know, at Phoenix, he was very fast. He was very fast again last night. So they've got that 1 mile, 3/4 mile program working really, really well.
At this point, did you wonder if you're going to get to go racing at all when it was raining?
You know what? I've never come in and out of the pit so many times on a red flag. That's Mark McFarland getting in the back of Stacy Compton there. And watch this. I mean, please slow down. Please slow down. Please slow down.
Too close. All right, well, we would see those guys involved in some other stuff. Johnny Andretti in the 10 goes for a spin. Had a little help, apparently, along the way, but not too many places for a lot of other people to go, and Steve Park gets slowed down as well.
He just stopped. He just stopped in the middle of the racetrack, and sometimes that's your best option is just to stop. It's dangerous to stop, though, because you get run over from behind an awful lot when that happens.
Ryan Newman goes by the 38 for the lead. Remember Ryan Newman's success in that Busch car last year. John Wood comes right into your living room in that incident.
That was a tough shot there.
All right, at that point, Paul Menard got the best pit stop out of the group, and he came out leading the race at that point. But if you're up front in this one, you wouldn't stay there for long. Reed Sorensen gets a tap from the back by Carl Edwards and goes around.
Yeah, it looked like Reed maybe, I don't know, Reed maybe didn't get going or something there, but this is a typical Richmond accident right here. 2 cars side by side, they get slowed up, and then the guy behind them doesn't get slowed up as much as those guys do. That's a typical Richmond accident right there.
All right, Elliott Sadler checked up, but Jay Sauter didn't. Casey Kane was able to take the lead away from Paul Menard, and Casey Kane sure is a guy who knows how to get around this racetrack. Now, a little ways back in the field, it was Sauter versus Sauter.
Yeah, that was not pretty right there. That was just driving in way too deep and getting in the back of somebody, and that won't be received very well tomorrow, I'm sure.
Tough pit stop. Ryan Newman hits a dude and also hits Bernie Lamar.
That's just, you know what? That's just, pits here are really, really tight, and Ryan did everything he could to try to keep him hitting those guys, and you know, it's all he could do.
And the crew member was okay. We wanted to point in he was okay after that. That's a very dangerous job those guys have going over the wall. Here's Casey Kane. Looks like no one really helped him out on that spin from that angle, but he hit the wall, backed into it, and that was pretty much his night.
Yeah, what you saw there was Casey was probably loose, and he was just pinned underneath him, and he just couldn't keep the back end underneath it, and that's that's a typical Richmond wreck.
All right, so there's still a lot of action left to go in this race. Is Kevin Harvick. He's the winner of 3 of the past 4 Busch Series races. And he takes the lead once again. And here, again, we saw this a second ago, Jeff. We go 3 wide. Watch the veteran move of Ryan Newman.
Well, Ryan Newman knew he couldn't go 3 wide into the corner. So he was in the middle. He thought, hey, I got the worst chance at this thing. And he rolled out of it, and it worked out for him.
Mark McFarland and Jason Leffler found out why you can't go 3 wide. And here's where the fun starts, Jeff.
Yeah, this is a great race. And, you know, just a lot of side-by-side stuff. And finally had a run on him. Finally thought, man, maybe this will work out, and caught lap cars. But again, it was a great race. It was a lot of fun.
You know, if you have to get beat by somebody, it's always good to get beat by a teammate, I guess. But right now, Kevin Harvick on the Busch Series is smoking hot. There seems to be no action right now.
I mean, just, you know, and in the shadow is how well Clint Boyer's running, too. If you go back and look at how many, you know, top 5s he's had, he's second in points. But compared to what Kevin's doing, good golly, Kevin is he's just racking them up, man. 3 out of the last 4. And just unbelievable how well he's running.
Yeah, off to one of the fastest starts ever on the Busch Series. Got the finish results here of the Circuit City 250, which went well into this morning. Not last evening, this morning. Kenseth, Greg Biffle, Ryan Newman round out your top 5. Then it's Clint Boyer with another top 10 finish.
They give a great call to Paul Menard. He stayed out on old tires, held off a lot of good cars for a long time, ended up 8th. They probably had a little bit better car than 8th, but he did a remarkable job of holding off people as long as he did.
Well, let's hear from some of these Busch drivers after one of their longest days in a long time.
It all kind of boiled down to qualifying. We just missed on qualifying, had to start in the back, so we had to use a little strategy to get to the front. And you know, Dan Stillman made a great call to get us up there. And once we were there, we were 30 laps behind on tires, so that just made it hard to hang on to. But everybody on the Pittsburgh Paints Menard Chevy did an awesome job. He had awesome pit stops, and it's kind of just hanging on. And at the end, we're all used up.
Had an accident there on pit road, knocked the right front end, and just took the advantage to come down pit road. And instead of going 2 laps down, if we had a tire rub, I couldn't see it. We were on crunch time to go. But nevertheless, to come from 34th back up to 5th was a great run, I think, in the last 90 laps or so. I had working on the 88 for quite a while, and he was tough to get by on the inside, as it always is. Pretty equal cars, it's tough to pass on the inside here. And 38 was coming, I believe, on fresher tires, and he went 3 wide. I just let him have it, and he got in really hard and just lost the back end and got up and took the 88 out as well.
That was awesome at the end. Myself and Jeff Burton just racing for a win, and I knew that you know, the only thing that we didn't want to do was run into each other. So I knew there after he got above me a couple times that I needed to take the high group away, and just kind of moved up the racetrack and tried to just get off the corner straight, do what I had to do to get off the corner down the straightaway. So I had to use a couple lap cars there with 5 or 6 laps to go, but great night for the U.S. Coast Guard Chevrolet and a lot of fun.
After the Talladega Busch Series race, Kevin Harvick was docked 25 points by NASCAR, yet his lead is still 313.
That's remarkable. I mean, I still don't know if we got in the stat if that's the biggest lead ever this early in the year, but it's certainly worth looking at.
We got to get the stats crew on that, because it certainly is, because that's, you know, Kevin Harvick can park it for a couple of races and still probably not lose the lead.
You look at 10th, John Wood is 607 points behind. Think about that, 600 points behind in 10th. That's a huge, huge difference.
Paul Menard, being your first so-called Busch regular, is 440 out. He is in the 5th spot, but that is a very competitive top 5 right there, beyond Kevin Harvick.
Oh gosh,
Kevin Harvick,
yes.
but everything else is real close.
When you look at those next 4 guys, they're all crammed in there really good, and that's some really big names too. If you look at that point race, without a doubt, I mean, it's a long year to go, and in a matter of 2 or 3 bad races, you can have a point race. So Kevin's aware of that. Everybody at RCR is aware of that. Certainly, they're looking pretty good right now, but there's no guarantees. And comebacks are made by people getting behind, and whenever people are behind, they don't have a whole lot to lose, and they change their strategy. So that thing's not over. You just never.